Okay, so no excuse, dealers. Todd's made it super, super easy. The tool's going to
We're
prompt
trying.
you along the way.
Yeah.
It's you don't have to be able to swim in 12 feet deep water just yet. You don't have to be able to surf the big waves like Todd can surf. You can just
Yeah.
jump in on the kiddie pool and get this thing tested out. Welcome back to another Qore Conversation. This is the Qore Conversations podcast, always featuring Todd Smith. He is the founder. He is the CEO. He is the main dude at QoreAI. And how do we spell that? QoreAI.com. Yeah, go to QoreAI.com and you'll find all kinds of cool stuff that's going on. But more importantly, in today's episode, we're doing something that we've never done before. It's a bit of a show and tell. And if you guys are as old as Todd and I, that was probably your favorite part of kindergarten. How long did we keep doing show and tell? Was that like maybe up into first or second grade, or was it just kindergarten?
I think so. I don't remember, but
I
that
loved
was a
it.
long, long time ago.
I loved show and tell. So I
Yeah.
love adult show and tell. I love industry depth in the niches show and tell. So just know right up top, it might feel a little bit self-serving or a little bit promotional. It's not intended to do that. It's really intended to help you understand some of the things that are being built and utilized at QoreAI that will be tremendously helpful to you. And without really asking, you're going to think that you're being asked for a lot more than you are. Todd's going to walk you through some things in a show and tell environment based on questions that I'm going to ask him and kind of set him up to do. So it should be really a fun episode, I think. It'll be a fantastic episode. Todd, what do you want to say before we actually kick this thing into gear?
Yeah, look, I think for us, it's we got here because we realized that for dealers who are going to want to truly embrace an agentic future with the agentic agents, you need to map your workflows. And for us, this was a process we did for a group. So we learned a lot, but we realized that doesn't scale. So we ended up building software to support dealers to do it themselves.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love this. You've already given me the backstage tour. You've shown me under the hood. I got to walk through it as a user, just on a one-on-one with Todd about a week ago, and it was very impressive. Extremely helpful to dealers, and so for me, trying to be a dealer hat, I couldn't wait to actually do this episode. So let's start with the first question, which is the problem. Most dealerships are still running operations on, you refer to this a lot, tribal knowledge, right? That institutional tribal knowledge, spreadsheets. What problem does Blueprint, by the way, that's what we're going to be talking about today's QoreAI's Blueprint. What problem does Blueprint actually solve? Why is that so dangerous for a dealership's, and why is it so dangerous for their bottom line?
Yeah, look, I look at it this way. I feel dealerships run on tribal knowledge, one, or two, if you think about it, we run on people, not systems and processes. And what I mean by that, like you go hire a used car manager, he crushes it, all your numbers look great, and something happens, you fire him, or he gets another job, he leaves, you crater again. And it's because the personalities inside our dealership are holding up our operations. And I think to really grow and scale, you really need tight operating systems. This is how McDonald's has done it, where they can take a B player, make them an A player by putting them into a system. You could take a D or C player and make them a B player. You'll never probably make them an A player, but you can move people up when they work within a system. Or if you think about it a different way, where you have a controller and they're sick or out, all of what they did is in their head. There's very little times it's written down. And if it was written down, it was written down years ago. It's sitting in some binder that's collecting dust with coffee stains on it that no one's ever looked at or updated. So I realized that the world we're heading towards, our goal and ambition to build agentic tools, to build automation, digital employees, well, you're going to need to train those digital employees. So that happens by first understanding how you work inside the dealership. Mm-hmm. That's Blueprint.
Mm-hmm. Love that. I want to ask you as we get into this, will it be best if I kind of roll through the things that I want to ask you and then we can do a screen share after? Or do you want to jump in with screen shares as I ask you questions throughout? What's better?
Let's jump in, and then that way it's kind of contextual and we can talk about it and point things out along the way.
Well, then share with us the
Yeah,
dashboard. Let's look at the
yeah.
dashboard and, that kind of
Let's
the
do that.
organization of workflows and versus
Cool.
messy spreadsheets.
Yeah. So, Core Blueprint, I broke it into three distinct things. One, you can build processes, all the processes you need inside your organization. We found many dealers have anywhere between 260, 300 plus workflows. We put templates in well over, I think, 480 different types of templates just to give you an idea or starter pack, handling everything from body shop, commercial to dealerships with or without BDCs, everything else. You can build pay plans in here. We found a lot of stores, even different salespeople would have different pay plans. So at no point could you automate that process, right? So we looked at it as, okay, we need to standardize things. So pay plans became one of the things. And the other one was just documents. Dealers just asked us for an easy way to store and manage all their business docs, not sales or customer docs, but like docs for their contracts and all that. So all this is mashed into here because eventually you're going to want to train the AI to help you do all these things.
Well, do you want to, how about maybe walk through what it looks like to actually build a workflow inside
Sure.
Blueprint and just say, I'm a dealer. I want to standardize how my team handles a trade-in appraisal. What does
Okay.
that process look like? Let's do that.
Super fun. So you can come over here and just give you lay of the lands. You could ask the AI assistant basically any questions. One I have kind of in the middle of being built. These are ones I've already built. And you can see some are in progress, some are approved along the way. So I already built in a trade appraisal process. So I'm just going to click on this one. It's going to take us to what's called the build mode. The build mode is you're collaborating with the AI. It auto knows your information in the right-hand side of the screen. And that right-hand information is all the steps needed to complete it. So you'll see if it knows what software you're using, you can tag the software, you can change the headers. You could say, no, we actually use a very specific software. We actually use VIN solutions or eLeads or whatever it is. You can change them. A lot of times it'll pick it up if it already knows what your systems are. But anyway, here it goes. I can see your trade-in proposal has 6 steps. And it says like, oh, add timing standards or map exception handling when it comes to it. So you can really walk through this and again, create your whole process. Once the process is done, it's running in what's called complex mode, meaning it's going to ask you, well, how does this begin? How does this process end? Lots of complexity to it, or you could just put it in simple mode. Simple mode is, hey, I just want to document a really simple workflow and leave it at that. Also, it auto then maps all your information and you can just put it into layout, which will give you your step-by-step mapping. Again, super easy. You can put decision points in here if you want, add a step, add a decision, build all your branching. So you can literally visualize how you actually work every day, not how, let's say the manual says you work every day. Because look, running a dealership or any individual process takes a bunch of steps and there's lots of handoff in between. And then once you're past this, you get to the operate portion. And this gives you what we consider a full little manual here of everything with a compliance checklist if you want it. So this is kind of an SOP document. It'll also show you very detailed trigger event criteria. Look, this is very granular, the one I'm showing you, because it's a complex one, but it's giving you the intelligence to also help you make sure it's operational. So this one is kind of interesting. It says, look, readability is at 9.5. Your target is 6th grade or below. Just use the AI. Hit simplify. It's going to go through the workflow of what we've designed, and it's actually going to simplify it verbally. This way, it's going to bring down that index for being able to quickly go through and understand it. So we wanted to bring down that vocabulary for it. So takes a second as it's showing through that. You can also run Copilot. Copilot is just that. It'll work alongside you. So as you say, like collect vehicle information. Well, get vehicle details or, VIN, mileage, just write down the VIN and miles, list the features and any problems. So it goes through that whole process. I can hit apply changes. It has auto now changed it and simplified the document, getting us closer to health score. So once we have all this in, we have actions. You can go ahead and download it, print it, do whatever you want. Or just store it, and even, enable a share link. So if you need to share a process with another teammate, you can easily do it. So once all your data is mapped, it's all in one spot. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's super cool. I love that. Okay, here's another one. We're going to try to play this stump Todd with his own blueprint tool. Let's talk pay plans. I'm sure this is a huge topic within this tool, but maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Pay plans are usually one of the most contentious things that a dealership has to kind of deal with. How does Blueprint handle building them? Let's build a pay plan, or show us what's going on there. And how does it remove that back and forth between the managers or whomever is communicating with the employee?
Yeah, let's build what do you think? Let's build a sales consultant pay plan. What do you think?
It would be a very popular one.
Okay. So basically right now we're going to, again, look through. It says, hey, for base compensation. So we used NADA guide and a bunch of other data we have to kind of lay foundational insights to just help you create this pay plan. So we could say, okay, non-recoverable draw. Do you want to give them a draw? We'll say, yeah, it's a $2,000 a month draw, right? So we'll get rid of this. If earned, accept a draw, blah, blah, blah. Alternative, recoverable draw. So we're not going to worry about that. We can go now continue. So now it's going to ask us about the commission structure. So it's literally, we're going to build this step by step, and 25% upfront on gross. We can change this at any time, $200 per unit, finance reserve split. Again, making it as detailed as you want, and tiered option, 25% on the first 8, 30 on 9 to 14, 35 on 15 plus. Don't have to do this, but I'm going to leave it just as is, just to kind of go through it really quick, giving you some highlight reels. So we can even do bonuses, or I can say, listen, we're not going to do bonuses. So we can skip that section. And let's say this dealership has a stair step. So we're going to give it a $200 a unit on aged and targeted ones. So again, helping you think through all the things to build an optimized pay plan. So as I continue through this one, very simple. Now it's going to ask us about CSI and OEM kickers. We can say, listen, we're not going to do that either. Let's just skip that. Chargeback and clawbacks, we can say what it's going to do. And I could say, yeah, we're going to create a charge and clawback in our particular one. And now it's actually going to do a couple additional things. Again, these are pretty detailed, right? This isn't just back of the napkin kind of pay plan. So we can do a packed deduction or not. We'll say, yep, we're going to add that in there. Again, look, I feel a lot of times in our industry, our pay plans are very not clear to the people who are getting paid. So we wanted to make something that was really easy to follow. And ultimately, it was a clear pay plan that would be consistent, whether it's a single store or across the whole group. You can build the consistencies, but different brands, maybe different uniqueness, but you want to consolidate it all in one place so it's easy to get access to and look at your organization in total. We can say, okay, pay parity is normal, it's the 15th and 1st, right? Semi. And now there's one more step that we're going to get to, and that's just implementation notes. So anything else we want to add to this, we would do. So now I'm just going to hit confirm. It's going to do a second thing. And now we're just going to say, here's the summary of what we did. It dates it. And now we're just going to generate the plan. And it's literally building us a pay plan. And look, we did this in 4 or 5 minutes. Here's your whole compensation pay plan. You can set it to PDF, print it, do whatever. Now, what I like about this is we just added this thing called AI Optimize. It's now going to relook at the pay plan, grade the pay plan, and show potential weaknesses in the pay plan you designed. Because look, there are hey, doing this may increase turnover, or hey, doing this could have this downstream effect. And it even prioritizes the types of potential issues you may face with that pay plan. So this is, again, super interesting that we've been working on. So look, we got a C. So it says earnings ceiling, high impact. So no volume bonuses. Remember, we killed that out.
Yeah.
CSI, we didn't put that kicker in there. High impact. Competitive benchmark, base draws 2, yet that's the floor. Most earn more. So it's giving you the intelligence of what's going to happen with your pay plan. So you could say, look, I want to apply those suggestions, and it'll rerun you through it and apply them.
That's really impressive. So
once they're there, they'll all live here on your completed pay plans. You can go view them at any time. So if I wanted to pop into the service manager one, I could pop into it. I could see it. I can now, since the pay plan lives here, I could also do is credentialing from here. So once you're on board people, what software do I need to give them access to do their job? And I fire them, what do I need to get them out of? So by
That's
every
huge.
position
organizationally,
yeah, you can go in here and say, yep, got them out of that, 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 got them out of that. Ooh, forgot the loaner system out of X time. So you can go through that. Your whole job descriptions here. So this is key responsibilities, right? All the things we wish we wrote up, the KPIs for that position based on best-in-class benchmarks. Obviously, required qualifications, preferred qualifications, software proficiency. Since it knows your software stack and all the software you use, it knows what to apply to what position, and even working conditions. Now, we wanted to make it even better. So let's say you need to go hire this person, go create a ladder, and it will go generate you the job placement for it. And then you can just copy and paste it in the ladder.
Nice.
So you just copy it and go paste it into that particular tool. You can regenerate this, PDF it, whatever. It obviously, the whole employee manual would live here if I had one, or all the playbooks that we've associated to that particular that particular role. So all of it's here.
That's amazing. All right, can we move to another category?
Yeah. Let's get out of that. So.
Okay, let's go. Let's talk about contracts. Managing contracts at a dealership is it's a nightmare.
Right.
you know you've done it. You've got vendor agreements, employee agreements, like deals all over the place.
Yeah, so just go over to documents. You can drag and drop things into it. You can email things into it. It creates a customized email, so just forward the doc into it. The system will auto parse it for you. It'll come up into ones that need review. And then you could also connect it to your Dropbox or connect it to your Google Drive, and it'll pull it up. So it'll show, hey, this one's overdue. I can go in here, look at it. Who was the contract title, description? It'll auto pull this data, due date, category you want to put it in, any reminders. Is this on an auto renewal? What's the value? What stores it at? Start date, terms. When do I want to be reminded? All the data is here. So it'll show me ones that I had to review, that AI has scanned these documents, and it's saying, hey, you need to go review them now. And it's showing the confidence of how accurate I think it was. So I could go do that, but it stores them all in here, all your documents, so you can recall them. You can add a document manually if you wanted, and say auto it and just upload a file or tie it to an external link. You have full capability. And then once all your documents are here, you just hit your document management and you can see all your docs, your SOPs, your pay plans, job descriptions, renewal and contracts, attachments, sync files, uploads, everything shows up here.
I feel like this is, all of it's really huge, but I feel like there's a lot of dealers who'd be like, oh my goodness, like I need this type of organization in my life.
Yeah. So, and we wanted to make it simple where even like for workflows, you can come in here and assign different tasks to people, like, hey, go build this workflow. So my BDC, and go assign some no-show recovery process to Todd. It's due at the end of this month. And any notes, and I hit send, it'll email them. and let them go in the system and build that and then notify you when it's done.
Yeah, that's
so
pretty.
All of that is there. And then if you go to team, you can look at it through individual positions like we did before with a call out with the information, or you can look at your full org chart.
Mm-hmm.
And I can then drive into any of these. Same way.
Love that.
So I think, look, our goal is help dealers address the need to get to an agentic workflow. And the only way that happens is if you map everything. So let's look at one that's mapped. And if I come over here to our operate, and I come over here, we could look at our ability to review it. So AI recommendations or do a deep review. So if I run the intelligence on this one, it'll now run the intelligence on this map and kind of look what's connected to it. Again, we're always looking to figure out how to make it better. You can run Copilot that asks and says, hey, here's some things you probably want to change or to reduce time inside a system by making this change. And it actually reproduces the score. So you can go review any of these things as well. And soon, as this continues to evolve, we realize there's a point where the system will start looking at your workflows and go, hey, if you do this, you're 90% ready to automate that task. And an AI agent can go fulfill that work then. But it's not going to happen unless you have all your data documented.
That makes sense. I have to ask you about this part because I think this is where dealers have a lot of questions. There's so much. I mean, all the big media companies now have added some kind of AI component to what they're, just blowharding about. And, dealers always, I just kind of feel bad for them because every time something new comes into the marketplace, there's a bunch of people that rush in to be the experts and the gurus and the thought leaders. And most of them are just bullshit vendors that are seizing the opportunity to make money off the backs of dealers. And so let me be the dealer who says, okay, this looks cool and it looks legit. And Todd is a former retail guy and he has a ton of business experience on being a service provider. I'm a dealer principal. I'm watching this right now. So what's the business case? Like, how does Blueprint pay for itself? Like, where does it fit in from an ROI, perspective where a dealer principal's mind's going to be?
Good question. So one, which I didn't show you. So it shows when you build your workflows, it shows how dependent the software that you're using is. So it shows software dependency. So if you find out you have certain software that very little dependency, meaning your people are technically not using it to do their jobs, allowing you to be more efficient in your software selection. One. Two, by organizing your workflows, you could look at opportunities to speed up processes, whether create better CSI, sell cars faster, or create, to me, just better overall employee experience. You're also looking for redundant tasks that you're doing over and over again that ultimately could be moved to an agentic workflow. There's a multitude of ways I believe that dealers can leverage it, just taking the time to map all the processes in your store. And look, I feel like the AI journey, as we've talked about many times, it's really two big pillars that have to take place. One, you have to organize and centralize and enable your data to be AI ready. So it's vectored, it's hygiened, it's ready to go, right? And two, you've got to map your workflows if you're going to want to take advantage of an agentic workforce. If you really want to have digital employees working alongside you, you have to give them the manual to be successful, just like we give physical, real employees.
Yep, that makes sense.
And right now, think about it, it's all tribal. How do you learn that sales guy stands next to another sales guy? Right. But it's a not repetitive task. I was just in a store. I watched two sales managers desk deals completely differently. Same outcome, but they did a totally different process workflow. So it's so crazy. You're a sales guy, you go to one manager, he wants it one way. You go to another manager, you want it another way. That doesn't scale.
Right.
At all. And my thought is for dealers to leverage an agentic future, start thinking like McDonald's. The system is the solution. The system is the driver. And I think that's where we have to get to.
I actually love the McDonald's analogy, not just because I've eaten a Big Mac or two in my life, but it is so brilliant because it doesn't matter if you have some like superstar, self-motivated, ambitious, capable employee. If you put him on the Big Mac assembly line versus the person who doesn't know anything, who is not ambitious, who's like, the workflow that exists to make sure that that Big Mac is always what I expect in the box doesn't matter, right? And that's essentially what you're saying is that your system is going to elevate so many parts of the business, including even varying degrees of experience or capability with employees, because that's what matters.
Yeah.
That's why when you talk about data hygiene, when you talk about workflows, and also just taking the time to actually make sure that it's all the infrastructure, the documentation is there. That's what not only enables this, but it's also what protects you and secures all these, revenue gains, all of the return on investment, all of the protection of finding profit that you're losing right now. That's how all of that stuff comes together. The Big Mac is always going to be exactly the way that it's supposed to be made if you do these things in the front.
And I think it's very much like, look, your CD players become B players. They'll never be A players.
Yeah.
But your A players become A plus players.
Yes.
And I think it's creating a high consistency, operational efficiency, which I always talk about. I think this is the last horizon. How do you get to become a more efficient team and dealership than your competitors? Yeah. And that, to me, leverage the AI inwards, and let's figure out how to truly dominate the, to me, it starts with mapping. And everything is built off of that. So to us, I think what Qore's trying to do is just give dealers the foundational pillars to be successful in the AI today, as well as the AI future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This has been fantastic. I just have one and probably quick question for you, and probably will feel like the most promotional thing that I'm asking you in this conversation. But so a dealer sees all this, or they're getting closer and closer to the target, and they want to get started. Like, I want to do something. What does onboarding look like? What does it look like, when they actually see it working? Tell me about that.
Cool part, you go on board yourself. It's free 14-day trial. You go play with it. Super easy. Just go blueprint.QoreAI.com. You can literally go ahead and sign yourself up or your team up and start using it and play with it. And that's it. And then if you like it,
give us that URL. Don't bury the lead. Give us that URL one more time. Slow.
Yep. Blueprint.QoreAI.com.
Is there any funky spelling with blueprint?
No, I that one's normal.
Okay. Yeah. So blueprint.QoreAI. Now, here's where we have to help you, and we will put it on the screen, by the way, QoreAI.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that sounds easy. 14-day trial, you said?
Yeah. I want people to use it. Look, I don't want you to pay for something you're not going to use. And I think that once you start rolling up your sleeves and start playing with it, it's like, wow, man, this thing it's going to save me a lot of time, and it's going to help me get things done. I didn't even show you probably one of the coolest new features, where it will, there's a Chrome extension, download, and you hit start, and it literally will watch you're on your screens, click through things, take screenshots. It'll cover all the PII, but it will know that you opened like this drop-down menu, or you're in this field, or whatever that is on all your steps. And it'll literally create your step-by-step. And then you hit a button and it auto sends it into Blueprint. And then you can go ahead and tweak it, and it has screenshots. In fact, let me just share one more thing here with you.
You have to. You can't drop some.
I know. I had to drop this to you, but let me go back in here and let me show you one.
You guest on some podcasts, which is great, and you should do. But this is your podcast, so you got to give people this is where you give them the gold, man.
Yeah. So if you come in, I just want to show you what one looks like. So if you come in to operate, so you can see I did this new document creation. literally shows all the step-by-step, like start, click the button.
All
title
out of
it.
the Chrome
Yeah, it comes to the extension, does it
extension.
automatically. So
Oh,
the
man.
extension is doing it automatically. You just hit capture and
Okay.
it'll literally map whatever you're doing.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's
Look, I tried to do there's no reason why you can't map your processes.
mhm. Mhm.
So it'll know oh, you're in rentals or you're in Vin Solutions, or you're in Drive Centric. Like it picks up the URL, it picks up where and what you're doing, and it figures it out.
I love that. That's
Yeah. So it's
fantastic.
that was my one last one more thing bonus.
No, that's
And
a
that's
great
super
bonus.
new. So
I'm glad
yeah.
you
Yeah.
decided to share that.
Yeah.
And for dealers that are going to say, of course I'm going to jump on this thing for 14 days and give it a rip. Because you have both sides of the aisle experience here in automotive. What would you tell a dealer to do first? Like, what's the first thing you tell them to build? Like, just to
Well, it's kind of interesting. The AI will literally give you, based on what you select in your onboarding, it'll say, hey, it'll pre-bundle 10 workflows for you that are already kind of pre-built. You just have to go tweak them.
so it's just going to prompt
It's
you along
smart
the way.
enough. It already knows. It's like, oh, you're BDC. This is probably what you need. Or, hey, you're the dealer or you're the controller. Like whatever you are, it's going to auto help you do that.
Okay, so no excuse, dealers. Todd's made it super, super easy. The tool's going to
We're
prompt
trying.
you along the way.
Yeah.
It's you don't have to be able to swim in 12 feet deep water just yet. You don't have to be able to surf the big waves like Todd can surf. You can just jump in on the kiddie pool and get this thing tested out. I highly encourage everybody that's listening to go and check that out. If you're not connected with Todd on LinkedIn, I would definitely start there. If you've not been to QoreAI.com, I would also spend some time there. There are a lot of voices that are just clamoring for attention around this topic, and it's not going to stop. It's going to keep getting noisier. The consequences are real now in 2026. They're only going to continue to get more severe. And Todd says this all the time, and I say this too because I totally agree with it. You need to start teaching yourself, and you need to start learning, and you need to start actually putting putting an oar in the water, and you got to do that. I love last episode where we talked about having that part of your weekly meetings with your staff, asking them what they're building, showing them what you're building. These are really important elements to getting smarter. But now you have something really cool that you can go and actually play around with for a couple of weeks and see where this thing can go. So Todd, thanks for walking us through an awesome show and tell today. It was fantastic. It's very cool. It's a little different.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to share. We're excited. And I think it's super valuable to just help them do what they're trying to do.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So to the audience, Wells, thank you. Thanks for giving us some of your time for another Qore conversation. We'll be back before you know it with another episode. But until then, be nice to each other. It would be a really nice thing. We'll see you again soon. Thanks for joining.
Awesome.